Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to yet another exciting edition of our program here. This is the hour of politics, of course, and of course, I am Ansony Sieh, as usual, here to do what I always try to do in my effort of contributing to this country called Liberia that we all want to see as that shining city on the hill. Welcome. Of course, the hour of politics focus on Liberia, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Here at Focus on Liberia, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. In this edition, I'm here to promote the political discourse of our country. I'm here to also contribute to the governance conversation of our country. And I want to welcome you, and I'm honored to be the one making this presentation to you. We value your presence here, and we also want to encourage you to share the show for us so that as many Liberians as possible can have the opportunity to be part of this conversation. Folks, my discussion today will be centered on the Liberian government delegation to the United States. My understanding is that that delegation has just concluded its mission, its trip to the United States. And I really want to go into what all happened. What was the goal? What was the purpose of this trip? Was that purpose achieved? Did the delegation achieve anything for Liberia? In any case, money was spent in order for the team to come and represent the country. Can we say the amount spent was money well spent? Knowing what we know now about the trip in terms of outcome, in terms of the level of engagement that the Liberian government delegation had with the U.S. government. So these are the questions that I have, and these are the things that I will be bringing to your attention and analyzing so that Liberians across the world will get to know whether or not the trip by the Liberian government yield anything for our people. And so welcome. Let's get to it. So the current administration of President George Weah has been in power for a little over 3 years now. I want to first also let you know, America, historically speaking, historians and diplomats and politicians will throw all kinds of phrases around our traditional ally. Some people even go as far as saying we have the umbilical cord relationship with the United States. Whether or not that is true remains debatable, in my opinion. And so what is factual that is not debatable is that America has had a traditional relationship, so to speak, with Liberia. America has been involved with governance issues through diplomatic means and also political means with our country, Liberia. America has been making what many people consider a significant contribution to Liberia. But if you ask me, America has not made any significant contribution to Liberia. So I can say that. I'm in the United States, I'm saying that. I'm tired of the crumbs. But let me go to what I'm here for to do, folks. So 3 years later, we have not had our president visiting the United States of America as a guest of the United States government. A visitation in which the president of Liberia represents our country and meeting the president of the United States. That has not happened for a little over 2 years now. And so when we all heard about this delegation being dispatched by our government, being dispatched by our president, some people call it high-level delegation. Sometimes people just use words, right? High-level delegation, they call it, came. And so first we must understand what was the purpose of this trip. What was the administration trying to achieve for this particular trip with the delegation that was being dispatched by our government? Well, we are made to know from what we read, from what we've been told, from folks who will not even tell us anything, that look, the purpose of the trip was to re-engage the United States government in a more sustained and substantive way. Pay attention to that political eloquence here. To what? Re-engage or engage the United States government in a more sustained and substantive way. And that was the reason, that was the purpose of the trip. Because from my reading of everything that I've read before coming here, and every person that I've talked to trying to get information about the purpose of the trip, no one could actually articulate to me anything other than a group of government officials coming to the United States to see the U.S. government. To put it in simple terms, that is what I got from both folks in the government circle, that the purpose was to come and see the U.S. government. And so the question is, to see the U.S. government for what? Then they started using some big terminologies to engage in a substantive and sustained manner. Okay. So that was the purpose of the trip. And so the next question we need to ask ourselves, does it mean that since this government was elected, the government has now been able to engage the U.S. government in a substantive manner, in a sustained manner? Is that what they are trying to communicate to us? Because the only reason you will send a trade to do that is because you have not been able to do that. You have not been able to engage the U.S. government in a sustained and substantive manner, according to their eloquence. So why wouldn't you have done that from the get-go? Look, Charles Taylor was right that the greatest mistake of his administration was the fact that his government could not get the ear of Washington. That's what Taylor said. Now, the interpretation is that Charles Taylor was not being supported by the U.S. government. What that meant also was that Charles Taylor was not in good books, diplomatically, politically. Charles Taylor was not in good books with the U.S. government. And so he suffered on so many fronts. The government was not supported. So when this government came into power, given that this government was elected by the Liberian people, after we have not had a smooth transition of government for many decades, a few decades, you will think that the fact that we have achieved that as a country has set another level, another stage for that government to be able to engage immediately upon taking office. Now, Samuel Doe comes in the picture. When Samuel Kenyon Doe became president, he met the U.S. government. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf met the U.S. government officially. By officially, I mean that the president held a delegation that came to the United States and were ushered at the executive branch of the U.S. government, the White House. Now, the contrast that we need to draw here, first of all, before we go into whether or not anything was achieved, the dynamics of the trip, the delegation, who headed and all that, is Samuel Doe came to power through an undemocratic means. He came to power through coup d'etat. And the coup d'etat I'm talking about was not a bloodless coup d'etat, meaning a coup or the military takeover without blood being shed. No, it was brutal. A president was killed. He was assassinated. And not only that, 13 other officials of government were executed by Samuel Doe. So it was a brutal takeover of power by Samuel Doe. But yet, that Samuel Doe would be invited or was able to meet the U.S. president at the White House. That was Ronald Reagan. So this is a president that took over a government, a country, through undemocratic means, through violence, by killing individuals, and yet he will visit the United States in the shortest possible time, and he was accorded all the opportunity as president, accorded all the respect as president of Liberia. A murderer was invited to the White House. Somebody who came to power through undemocratic means. I think that was profound. So when you contrast that with quote-unquote this smooth transfer of power through this democratic means of coming to power by the CDC government, and if you compare that with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who won an election in 2005, to also be given similar courtesy, to have met the U.S. president at the White House. And then we have a government that came to power similar to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and that government, through its president, is yet to see the president of the United States, quote unquote, our traditional ally. What does that tell you? Now, people in the foreign service arena, in the diplomatic arena, people who deal with foreign policy, will bring in all kinds of interpretation and analysis. One which will be, at the time Doe was president, there was a Cold War. U.S. were engaged in a Cold War. Liberia was strategic at the time to America. So it was in the U.S. foreign policy interest to have dealt with Liberia, because Liberia was in a strategic position that was a vantage point for the U.S. government to be able to engage the Russian or the former Soviet Union. So it was on that basis America had turned a blind eye to the undemocratic means through which Doe came to power. And America did not care about whether Doe had killed people to come to power. And even while he became president, he was still killing people. And of course, there were a lot of killing that went on. The history books are claiming on the record. But yet America dealt with Doe. And more to that, the U.S. government committed about 500 million. I didn't say 5 million. I said $500 million was given to the Doe administration. President Doe, a man who came to power through unconstitutional means, through undemocratic means, met the U.S. President Ronald Reagan. Let me show you the image here, folks. There is Doe. This guy, a military guy, master sergeant, who had taken over through unconstitutional means, killed along the way in order to get grip of power. And yet there is young Doe who come and be ushered in the White House. There is former U.S. President Ronald Reagan. Doe who go to secure nearly or more than 500 million United States dollars from the U.S. government as the U.S. contribution to the United States. Direct contribution. The question is, why? I was just trying to explain to you why people in the diplomatic arena, foreign policy experts will explain as being the reasons why, because Liberia was strategically needed. It was in U.S. best and diplomatic and foreign policy interest to have dealt with Liberia at the time. So America did not care about whether Doe came to power through unconstitutional or undemocratic means. Is that true? You will do your research on that. I just thought to share that policy with you. I'm only going to give you an analysis. What remains constant here, folks, if you look at the Tweah and the Doe government, you see that they make him to power, through unconstitutional means, kill people along the way. Even when he had grabbed power, he would still go and execute 13%. And yet he would be ushered into the White House. Couldn't have America dealt with him without ushering him into the White House? America could have done that. They could have struck a deal with Doe without inviting him in the White House. They could have done that. But Doe was able to get to the White House. I'm not saying it's impossible for our government, our president to do that. But how long? The question is when and why it has not happened. And even why the high power delegation we've been told that was sent by our government could not even be ushered into the White House. Why? The president can't get to the White House, and then even the delegation that representing the president cannot get to the White House. So, folks, let me say this. It is something for us to really look at. Something is not right. Something is not adding up. How could Doe meet U.S. president and enter the White House? How could Ellen enter the White House, meet U.S. president, and President Weah can't? How come? Nearly every Liberian president that has been able to see the U.S. president, that usually happens in about a year or less. It's been 3 years now. It didn't take Ellen 3-4 years to see Barack Obama. No, it didn't take her that long. Why is it taking this administration this long to represent our country at the level of the White House? Now, let's come to the trip a little bit. After giving you that distinction, that sharp contrast, what was the purpose of the trip? What's the purpose achieved? The idea that you have come to the United States to engage in a sustained and substantive manner is a bluff. It is a bluff, meaning you came with an intention of getting some form of commitment and significant form of support to the Liberian government, and you did not secure that. And so now you want to lecture us that you only came because you wanted to have engaged in a sustained and substantive manner. Here is the deal. Technology has advanced. The U.S. Embassy is right there Mama Point. People will say near Morovia. It's right there. President Weah has received the credence of all the diplomatic credentials of the U.S. ambassador assigned to Morovia or assigned in Liberia. Didn't the Liberian government receive the ambassador? Is the embassy not a representation of the U.S. government in Liberia? So it was just to engage the U.S. government in this sustained and substantive manner, conversation can be held at a level. Besides, we do have an embassy here in Washington. We have an ambassador. We have also a United Nations, we have ambassador to the United Nations. But let me stick to the U.S., the Liberian ambassador to the United States, and then the U.S. ambassador to Liberia. So this is Liberia that has an embassy to speak and represent Liberia in the United States. And you think that is not enough to engage in a substantive and sustained faction? Isn't that the reason? To sustain your diplomatic ties with another country? Isn't why people have embassies around the world? So for you to be telling us as though we don't have common sense to understand that you do have an embassy and that is a representation of your effort to have engaged or to engage in a substantive and sustained manner, you have to send a delegation to do what? No, I'm not buying that lecture. The delegation came because the delegation wanted to secure some form of commitment, some form of contribution from the U.S. government, because government has just changed hands in the United States. We have had President Trump, who quote unquote his policy was America, America, America. Trump didn't give a damn about other countries. No, Trump didn't get about anything about other country. This guy was about America first, America first, America first. So this is our administration that saw an opportunity that, oh, the U.S. has a new administration now. This administration will be inclined to listen to us, to give our audience. So this is a perfect opportunity. At the level of the presidency, let us go and engage. Hey, Liberia is a poor country economically. We need money for roads. We need money to provide electricity. We need money to provide clean water for our people. We need money to renovate our hospitals, to renovate our schools. We need money for everything. And the little that we collect is not even enough. As though that is not a problem, corruption is taking a giant share of that. So what is left for our people is not even enough. So this government needed money or needs money now. That was the purpose of the trip. The last time the government went to China, what was the reason? They wanted to secure some form of commitment, be it bilateral, be it through a contract or an investment. That was the purpose. That's what countries do, especially poor countries. They engage economic powers so that they can secure some form of commitment to be able to carry on their programs. So the thing is, who made the trip and what it brought to the team? So let me report to you, if some of you don't know, The Liberian government delegation was headed by Finance Minister Tweah. Tweah was the head of the delegation. All right. Why was Tweah the head of the delegation? When you talk finance minister, you talk money, plain and simple. Am I telling the truth or am I telling that? When you are talking about finance minister, finance have to do with money. So if the finance minister is the head of the delegation, they were coming to secure some financial commitment from the U.S. government. That is why, in their judgment, it was appropriate for the finance minister to have been the head of the delegation. When you want to engage in a sustained manner on a diplomatic level, as they are trying to lecture us, you should have sent your foreign minister then. But to have sent your finance minister, the guy whose job is to deal with financial matters or money business, if you make him the head of delegation, what does that tell you? Folks, if you are doing a project and that project is agriculture, who will you put in charge? Isn't somebody who studied agriculture, who is an expert in agriculture? That's the person you will put in charge. That's the right thing to do. So you made the finance minister the head of the delegation. And then you're telling me it was not about trying to secure some form of financial commitment from the U.S. government that will support your government programs and projects. So if that were not the case, if it was just about, to re-engage politically, then you should have just sent your foreign minister. Even at that, that would have been a waste of money because you have an ambassador, because you have the U.S. ambassador right there in Monrovia. He's just a phone call away from the president. Couldn't you have engaged? They would have done that. And so that story, that the purpose of the trip was to engage, is a bluff. Now, I asked the question, who all make the trip and what they brought to the table? I told you about Tweah. I think it was a miscalculation on the part of the government to have made Tweah the head of the delegation. Because if you look at the head of the delegation and you look at what they are telling us as being the purpose of the trip, there is a huge contradiction. So someone is not telling the truth. The government is bluffing. The government is lying. What they came for, they can't get it. And you know why they can't get it? I will give it to you. Now, on the trip also was Nathaniel Mangale. You send me individual to represent your government. And the individuals have records that are unpleasant in terms of governance. How dare you make a colossal mistake of this magnitude? In fact, talking about the very Tweah is on record, if he's listening to me, for saying, hey, this 16 billion news has devastated the image. And everywhere we went, people will be asking us, Mr. Minister, what is this 16 billion? We have to be explaining. We have to be explaining. We have to be explaining. Now, what I suggest is the finance minister integrity and credibility is destroyed when it comes to money, because he is the head of the economic management team of the country. Now, they can lecture you that he has no oversight responsibility at the central bank. That is a bluff. He does. He talks to the central bank governor. They compare notes before they made decision. And yet, this is the very finance minister upon whose advice the government of Liberia took money from our Federal Reserve banks in New York. And that money, let me tell you, the U.S. government have had its eyes on that money. There are regulations and international regulations regarding how you put money there and how you take money from there. And when you are taking money from, though it's your money, you won't be able to follow all the necessary protocols so that you can be in the right standing to secure financial commitment from other institutions or donor countries. And so what we know, it is on this finance minister, that reserve has been depleted to nearly nothing. This is the very finance minister who told us their decision to have gone into the accounts of our development partners, the U.S. government, the government of Germany, the government of Great Britain, the government of France, and you name it. This finance minister, as head of the economic management team, as the chief fiscal officer of the country, made a decision that the Liberian government had all right to go into the accounts of the donors and snatch just about any amount without even informing them. This finance minister made that decision. And this is the guy who will be rebuked by this very international folks that, hey, you took our money, you didn't even have the gust, you wouldn't even have the decency to tell us that you're taking our money. Come on, go and put our money back. This finance minister is the guy you are making the head of your delegation that was coming to secure some financial commitment to support your programs and policy, and you think you were any serious in any way? Really? You got to be killing me. Look, the decision to have made finance minister the head of the delegation was the most terrible decision ever. This finance minister integrity is in the toilet, for Christ's sake, folks. It is a fact. Whether you classify it as perception in politics and diplomacy, it is something that can be treated as a reality. So you must look at the optics when you are making decisions. You don't have any other person in this government beside Tweah? You're going to die with Tweah? You're going to bury your own government with Tweah? And you think you are doing it to your government? You are doing it to our people. This is why we are here to speak about it. I may not necessarily care who you make the head of your delegation. But folks, you have lives in your hands here. People's future at stake right here. We are talking about the economic survivability of our fellow citizens right here. That is what we're talking about. And that is why we even have to make it our duty to have this conversation and encourage our people, not encourage our people, to educate our people that these are the kind of mistakes that keep a country to remain stagnant, especially economically. How could you have done that? Do you not know Tweah integrity is in a toilet? Is anything anybody can flush? Tweah himself said that. I've been questioned every time I travel. I have to be justified. That alone, you don't want that kind of story to be the first question any donor country will have to ask you. Before they can give you a dime, they must trust you. But there is this big question mark on whether or not this person is credible. They have done a significant damage to their own reputation thereby disqualifying them of being a better representation for our country on any serious trip intended to secure any financial commitment. Samuel Tweah should be the least person you should be talking about. What are you talking about here? And as though the blunder of Samuel Tweah is not enough, and then you have Mangill as the guy who is the second head of the delegation. Mangill, a man of no substance, a man who does not have any solid credentials when it comes to statecraft, as though making him your minister of state for presidential affairs / chief of officer to the president. It is not in itself a failure. You pour him on a delegation as though his presence on that delegation would do any good to salvage the bankrupt integrity of Samuel Tweah. Can you guys be serious for once here? Do you not know that it has taken you almost 3 years now? You can't even secure a visit, an invitation from the U.S. government? How come a U.S. government that always been in the business of meeting Liberia's presidents will not meet this one who came to power, no argument whatsoever, through the right means, through election? Ellen came through election. I believe, now I believe George Bush met Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. George Bush went to Liberia. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf met Barack Obama. She met 2 presidents while she was president of Liberia. America is having its second president now since President George Weah came to power. He has not been able to meet one. And his decision to send a delegation is to put Samuel Tweah, the guy who's all over the place, whose integrity and reputation and the man's inability to be able to handle the economy is in itself telling he lacks the competence to run the fiscal affairs of our country. So he should be the last person you should send on the trip that was intended to secure any or to secure financial commitments. No wonder why they didn't get a dime. Are you surprised? They didn't get a dime. And so at the end of the day, folks, here is the lecture they are giving us. Oh, we came and we wanted to engage the U.S. government. Engage them through the embassy. Engage them through your ambassador. Ambassador George Patton is here. We had him here to focus on Liberia before. We interviewed him. Is he not competent to engage the U.S. government? Do you not have a foreign minister to get that job done? And let me go to some nuances that are important here, folks. Right now, as we speak, the U.S. Secretary of State is on a tour around the world. He went to the Middle East. He's going other places. I think he's going to Puerto Rico and other places. Here's the deal, folks. The main itinerary, where he's going, his schedule, the presidents he's going to bid, the countries that he's traveling to, it's on their website, folks. They're not hiding it. Amen. Amen. Now, when you try to see these things, then our friends will tell us, oh, you let us compare America and Liberia. To pull your itinerary, to disclose it on the website of the foreign ministry, that this delegation representing Liberia to a foreign country, they are, this is when they're leaving. This is the reason why they are going. These are the individuals they will meet. And here are the reasons why they will be meeting these individuals. You have to be American man again. Amen. You stop this joke here, man. These are the transparency issues. These are the little things that suggest that you know what you are doing. Don't the people you represent deserve to know the reason you're traveling, who you're going to meet, the purposes for which you're going to meet those people? Don't they deserve to know that? Shouldn't that information be on the website to suggest that you are transparent? Is there anything difficult to ask again? And you call me an opposition? Also on the trip, we have Gender Minister Wilhelmina Piso-Sedita. She's the General Minister. She's on the trip. Jefferson Tamakoji is on the trip. The mayor of the city of Monrovia is on the trip. I don't know whether he came to meet the mayor of New York or any other mayors, any place. I really just don't know what was the reason they had him on the trip, but they had their reason. But the core reason was they wanted to secure some financial commitment. And if you want to do that, is that Jefferson you have on a trip? For what? What does Jefferson know about? No disrespect to the brother. He's somebody who knows me personally. But what does Jefferson know about any form of financial commitment? Or maybe they were hoping that, well, maybe one of these states, mayor will get some kind of lead tractor or something, right? So yeah, they have to hustle. I understand, it's tough. But here's the deal. You don't do that. You are selling what you call a high-power delegation to meet the U.S. government. And that is your high-power delegation? Individuals with bankrupt reputation and character who are not respected even in their own country, who are not respected by their brothers and sisters in their own country. These are the people you send, and you think you're serious, and you feel that you have no other option other than to send Tweah. And when Tweah is not on that trip, then now a trip. Keep joking. Keep joking. And so at the end of the day, what they had to tell us was, and we have met senior officials of the U.S. government. Can you imagine? We met some high-ranking congressional members, congressional members. Where did you meet them? Senior government officials? Who are the senior government officials that you met? What was the commitment? And here's the thing that baffled me a little bit. Taking pictures. The boys gone to the beach to take some pictures for memory. And another thing we saw supporters, friends of the government, surrogates of the government. They went to meet their friends at the hotel. They're taking pictures. The pictures are all over. And they have some few folks that met them at the Liberian embassy in Washington, D.C. They took some pictures with them. And we saw some picture taking also at the State Department where they met somebody like the deputy, I think assistant secretary of State for African Affairs. They met somebody there. And they think that just by meeting a guy like that meant anything serious. That guy, it is his job to meet whoever comes from any African country with the goal of trying to have a conversation with the U.S. government. That is the area. So he had to meet them. And by him taking picture with them, it only elevates him. He's doing his work. So folks, for our brothers and sisters to lecture us that they have sent a high-power delegation to come just to re-engage in a substantive manner, in a sustained manner, again, folks, that was a lie we were told. What they came for, they didn't get it. So now let me tell you what happened. There were rumors around that, they're not going to give them visa and blah, blah, blah. So when these officials of government got visa and they came, it was the big celebration as though coming to America is the man went to the numerous problems that we had. This country called America, my people, I live here, and I'm telling you, if we don't get our act together, they're not going to do it for us. They are not going to do it for us. Stop relying on them. If you want to engage the U.S. government, make a presentation to the U.S. government. Look, we want 20 billion. Borrow us 20 billion. And that 20 billion, we're going to invest we'll invest 10 of that 50 billion, for example. We'll invest 10 of that 50 billion into our infrastructure. And then each of the other sector, education, agriculture, security, and all these things will commit 1 billion or 2 billion in each of them. Then you serious. You can't bear for live $500. Samuel Doe, who was a master sergeant, snatched $500 million from the U.S. government without saying anything. At the time, Doe could not even express himself. This guy managed to meet the U.S. president at the White House and secure $500 million. And let me remind you this, folks. At the time Doe got that money, the equivalent of that $500 million is about $1 billion. So arguably, I can tell you, Doe in today's war managed to secure $1 billion from the U.S. government. Am I sounding logical? I hope I am. So, folks, this is what happened. This is the story they will not tell you. The Liberian government was sent for if in any way they made effort to come. The U.S. government too saw that as an opportunity to invite them and rebuke them. That is what happened. Look, folks, and why do I say that? The U.S. government, through the United States Department of State, have been issuing what they call their periodic report. And the goal of the periodic report is to notify governments around the world that here are the places that you have issues and here are the issues you want addressed. And if you address the issue, we will be able to make significant commitment to supporting your government. Don't you remember these reports? This periodic report by the U.S. government, the most recent one on this current administration, where they're talking about extrajudicial killing, disappearance of people, police, and all using excessive force on citizens, that our government is not respecting the rights of people when it comes to things like protest, journalists being manhandled, journalists being killed, news institutions being shut down, that the civil society is not being engaged in a substantive manner. All of these verses, you're talking about rapes and all these things. The U.S. government has always communicated these things to governments around the world, including our Liberian government. So all our government needed to do was to take this thing head on. So when they came, they were like sent for. Pay attention to my English. They were like sent for. When someone is like sent for, it means that, hey, Mama, I would like to come see you. The person, yeah. You can come. I think I wanted to have called this guy anyway. And this is an opportunity to really tell the guy something. So yeah, please come. You are coming because, or you are going because that person has finally agreed. The person could say, no, you will not come or you will not go. Right? So they were like sent for to be rebuked. Why? Because all of the time, for 3 years now, the U.S. government has been engaging the Liberian government. Do this. Be serious about this. Stop stealing the people money. Stop this corruption. Be serious. They have not listened. Why? Because they have always been in their comfort zone. When they are in Liberia, when they are in their air-conditioned cars, the 45, the 60, the 50 to 75,000 cars, when they are riding those cars, when they sit behind their little decks, or, that have been paid for, when they sit in those free chairs that have been paid for by government, when they use those free computers that have been paid for by government, when they amass for themselves these fabulous salaries, they live on planet Pluto. They don't live in the reality of the day. They don't get to see the suffering in West Point. They don't get to see the suffering in Negro Town. They don't get to see the suffering even in Grand Crew and all over the places. They don't get to see it. They don't get to realize these are the issues that are suffering our people. They don't get to see that because they are in comfort. When they move, people follow them. When they go to the party headquarters, people follow them. People cheer them when they open their mouths to speak out gibberish. All right? When they speak out gibberish, people celebrate them. And so somehow their ears could not just understand what they were hearing from the US government through the numerous reports, through engagement at the level of the embassy. They have not been understanding those things they've been communicated to, or those things have been communicated to them. So the US government, saying they felt that they have to, they swear the omunation on their faith. We the Liberian government that came to power through democratic means, and we can't be US president, nothing. So we got to try, and saying, we got Joe Biden now, a puppet, that Democrat, that Trump man that you will have to deal with, I got a Republican, a Republican Trump guy, he not get time for anybody. But, old man Biden, yeah, in fact, the man like black people. You see, the man picked black woman as a vice running mate. He got a lot of black. Yeah, so this is an opportunity. The Democrats are people who are very receptive, to people of color. So, boom, this is an opportunity. Let's go for it. They put their team together. And yet, the Biden administration said, oh, yeah, nah, yeah, they're not been paying attention. Yeah, you're coming here. You're coming. You're coming here. So when the king, the very things that the US government told our government through their reports at the level of the US State Department, those were the very exact things that they told our brothers and sisters who came here to sleep in free hotel and eat free food, thinking that they came here for any serious business. That is what they were told. Why couldn't you stay in Liberia and do Zoom meeting? You could stay in Liberia and do Zoom meeting. You came from all the way here just for the people to tell you the same thing we told you in the U.S. State Department report. I mean, the U.S. not State Department inside, but yes, U.S. State Department report. Those are the things we want you to do. And now here is our government. Guess what they are doing? They say, oh, what we're going to do, we're going to commit ourselves to engaging with the civil society. We're going to look at the issue of money laundering, something I'll be touching on. It's a very interesting piece there. We'll address the issue of money laundering. Are you paying attention to me? You will engage the issue of money laundering. And our government now is making a commitment. Our government is not making what we call recommitment. Pay attention. Now, that means when our government came to power, though they will tell you they have made commitment to these things, but when you look at things, action speaks louder than words, right? They will tell you, oh, we subscribe to democratic principles. We subscribe to the principles of good governance. We will respect the rights of people to speak freely. We will respect a peaceful assembly. We will respect the press freedom. All these things. They will tell you that, oh, they have done it. But now they are telling us, after they have been rebuked by the US government, these are the blunders that you've been making. And why you are making this blunder, we can't give you any money. We can't even take you to the White House. You're not qualified. You have not worthy. You steal from our government in your country, and you want us to usher you to the White House? No, we can't do that. So go and do this. So now our government is saying, okay, then we'll do that. We'll do that. Instead of them saying we are recommitting, meaning that we have committed ourselves to these democratic principles, these tenets, they are saying we'll commit. Go read the front page article. That article was written by them, sent to front page to be published by them in a public relations tongue. They tried to set the record straight here, but we grabbed them. So here's the deal, folks. Coming here was a waste of our time, waste of money. There had no reason coming here. The purpose for which they came, the people told them, no, we're not even going to discuss that. So now the lecturing about these things. That's a block. So, folks, the team, Wilhelmina Peso Selita was on there. Jefferson Koji was on there. I don't know what they came here for, because even the gender issues have been captured in the State Department report that was released. So the government started some effort. To their credit. They started something they call a roadmap. But when it comes to the implementation of that very roadmap, the government is behind. The government is far behind. The government is way behind schedule when it comes to the implementation of the gender roadmap. So Piso needed not to come here. She needed not to come here. Go and implement the roadmap. Come only when you have exhausted the implementation of the roadmap. But she came. Jefferson came. Mange came. Mange, you have nothing to offer. That man can't even articulate as a serious official of government who will make sense to any serious human being before they can make any commitment to that country. The only person they have in their government, they swear they must have the men at Tweah. Tweah is good at playing with words. But if you listen to his eloquence, you will see that this brother called Samuel Tweah is only good at uttering words. He does not even understand the words that he uttering, that those words represent pieces of ideas that mean something, but he just want to get it out. So let me share something with you about our brother Tweah.
A benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships, where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear what the other people say in the view. I won't build.
Hold on, folks.
I put the money there. Because so now you see what build up, so go do the layer, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you smoke. But we need tough decisions. So let's reorient this whole government. The president will.
Folks, hold on. Let me bring it back so that I was not paying attention. I was making an adjustment here. Let's listen to the finance minister.
Sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening. Look, a benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships, where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear what the other people say in the view. I won't build that road and I put the money there. Because so now you see what build up, so go do the layer, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you smoke.
Did you listen to the eloquence of your well-learned finance minister, folks? Let me take it from here. Let me take it from here and bring something back. I will come to that, folks. I will come to that. You know, folks, we have to get serious here. You listen to the finance minister. This is a guy who is the head of the delegation. Plain and simple. This guy is lecturing us that what we need is a dictator in our country. And that if we have a dictator, one, quote unquote, that having to be benevolent, then development in our country will go faster. He further justified that this is what happening in some of the Asian democracy or dictatorship. Can you believe that? So the man who is on a campaign to make the president of Liberia a dictator, as though we have not had dictators and have not learned anything from those dictators in the 21st century, the 21st century. Samuel Tweah is making the argument what we need in our country for development is to have, in his word, a dictator. And that dictator only have to be benevolent. Then things will go faster. He went further by saying, because if we don't have a benevolent dictator, or if we don't have a dictator who gets up in the morning, decides what to happen, and it goes on. If we don't have that, we will not have development. He went on by saying, but if we start democratizing the decision, we are in a democratic country, Mr. Tweah, Mr. Eloquence. We are in a democracy. You came to the world's greatest democracy to secure financial commitment. And now you're preaching dictatorship in your country. And you think you want to be taken serious. As though the baggage that you carry on your back every day on the question of corruption, as though those things are enough, you would dare lecture us the need for a dictatorship for our country to go forward. That is Samuel 12 prescription for our country. He tried all his economic policies. Liberia is still struggling. The final to economics is benevolent dictatorship. And this is a guy you make to be the head of your delegation. What dictators do is dictators decide how a country resources should be spent at their will and pleasure. Charles Taylor was one. My understanding from folks who were close to the Charles Taylor government, Charles Taylor had a vault at the White Flower, meaning as his house. Taylor was controlling the country money. He was the finance minister for the most part. He was the central bank governor. He had money at his house. He was a dictator. Tweah, we are in the 21st century. You the head of the delegation, and you preaching dictatorship? Folks, I have to leave it there, but I have to show you this one. So, Samuel Doe, there you see Doe there. Let me make it big for you. Let me make it big for you. There is Samuel Doe, young Samuel Doe smiling, meeting Ronald Reagan. He will go to secure for us as a country $500 million. Doe will do that when he was inexperienced. He has just came from the military barrack. He met a U.S. president. He secured $500 million. A guy who came to power through bloodshed who do that. And our guy, the man they call Mr. Clean, the country giant, he can do it. Hold on, folks. Let me make adjustment to my technology here. I don't want for folks to see the secret of my technology here. So here we are. Here we are. This is the one I wanted to show you. And then I got in a little trouble there with my technology. All right, there it is. Let me make it big. What do you see there in that image, folks? What do you see? Comment and tell me what you see. Folks, comment and tell me who you see. That is former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf there in that picture. That is a Zoom meeting. Below Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you see Kamala Harris, current Vice President of the United States. On Ellen left-hand side, you see Linda Thomas Greenfield. Madam Greenfield is the current ambassador of the United States to the United Nations. She has also served as U.S. ambassador to Liberia. She was a U.S. ambassador. She knows Liberia. She knows the players. Ellen have a meeting. Now, on the left-hand side of Kamala Harris is the current United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. Folks, Ellen, the old man, she and myself, we're not friends. I don't like her business. Oh, I don't like her business. I don't like how she operates. But I respect her because she knows what she wants. And she knows how to get it. And she goes for it with everything she got. And she gets it. The last time President Weah and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf were throwing jar on opulence, right? You remember that fight? Ellen came ahead of them. Ellen blackmailed the government. I'm not in this government favor. This government has not proven to me that it is serious for prime time. This government has not demonstrated that it means well for our people. Our president has not shown any ability to be a leader that we deserve. Our officials have not demonstrated any level of seriousness. Even their agenda they call propo, they are a complete contradiction to their own propo. If you were propo, then you will act propo. You can't be amassing wealth in no time upon taking over a poor country. You can't tell me about propo. You are not a propo government. You are contrary to everything that is proposed. Well, let me continue with my point here, folks. UN Secretary General, Ellen in meeting with them. Ellen came ahead of this delegation. Ellen is not happy with this government. She got us in this mess also. She helped Weah to become president. But what she's good at is she knows how to collect her debt. And she's doing it. And that is why I tell folks, CDC is not ready for prime time. They should have been the first upon taking over to have caught in front of this woman. But they're not ready. They're not serious. They are jokers. Bunch of jokers in government. Dancing and singing to a president who came to serve, but they think that he came to be served. President Weah is not president to be served. He became president to serve. So, folks, our government start telling us they will make effort to fight money laundering. That's the final point I'm coming to. They will fight money laundering. They say they're going to fight it. Why are they saying that? Our government, officials in the government have been accused of engaging in money laundering activities. The U.S. government sends one at some point when the Liberian government tried to give a contract to a Jordanian company to do the cargo handling at the airport. That is a major entry point. It has huge national security implication. The government, in its greed and in its callousness, felt that a Jordanian company that is not known anywhere in the world that lied to them that they will bring an aircraft to Liberia so they can have this. So they gave the contract to them. But it has to be canceled because the U.S. government intervened. The U.S. government has sensed money laundering. There are institutions that have been accused linking to some individuals that are involved in money laundering. And some of these government officials, some of the money that they are taking, they are cleaning the money through these means. These money laundering activities. So if you heard that or if you read in their report, they say, we will address the issue of money laundering. The U.S. government told them to look at the issue of money laundering because they have intelligence that is this happening, that some people in the government are involved into money laundering. In fact, the Financial Intelligence Unit of Liberia that is charged with the responsibility to look at the issue of money laundering My understanding is, according to my source, is the Liberian government in the previous administration has secured some form of arrangement with the U.S. Treasury to work collaboratively to fight the issue of money laundering. An official of government who was in charge at the time was being accused by the Tweah administration of sending out sensitive information to the U.S. government. And so they did everything to pin that official to the government. And today the official is not there. And in fact, that agreement that was reached by the Liberian government with the U.S. Treasury that is renewable has not been renewed by this government. And so the U.S. government does not have any authority to follow up with the issues of money laundering that's going on. That is one of the major problems that the U.S. government has with the government. And who was the chief architect in this failure and inaction? Samuel D. Tweah, finance minister. By default, he has some authority over or some supervisory role over the FIU, which is the Financial Intelligence Unit of the Republic of Liberia. My understanding is that it's at the finance ministry. And this is the very Samuel Tweah you made head of your delegation that came to secure some form of financial commitment. You're not serious. I would say you are not serious. Until you get serious, you will not succeed. We want you to succeed, but you don't walk like someone who wants to succeed. You don't act. You don't make decisions. You don't engage. You fill the government with reforms. Folks, I have to leave it there here. I focus on Liberia. I have 118 comments. Let me see here. I want to open my phone number here quickly. Folks, bear with me. I'm going to open my phone numbers here quickly. Bear with me. I'm going to open my phone number here. Let me set up the phone number. Those who want to call. All right, folks, hold on here. Bear with me. Let me set up the phone numbers. Let me set up the phone line so you can call. Let me set up the phone line so you can call. Before I do that, let me take a little break. And while that break is going on, when I come back, I will read your comments. I will read your comments. I will take your phone calls. The question I have for you is, did the Liberian government delegation achieve anything for our country, or it was just another waste of time? That is the question when you call. I want you to answer, and any other thing that you have on your mind to say. I'm going to take this short break right now, and then when I come back, I will be taking your phone calls, and also I will be reading your comments. So that short break, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks. All right, folks, I'm back with you here. Thanks so very much for being with me. As I try to set up the phone line here. The phone line is set, folks. You can get your calls coming in. I will take your calls. I would appreciate if you can join this conversation. If you are wondering the number to call, look in the strolling text below. That number is right there, 605-313-6004. Don't forget to enter the code. That's 791403 #. You will be given the opportunity. Let me now get to your comments, or lots of them. I don't know if I can get to them all, but I will try to do my best to read a few of them. All right, folks, this is Focus on Liberia. Always Ansony Sieh here, trying to do my best to bring you information in an analytical fashion. Let's hear from Sieh. Sieh said, when we Africans get it, that there when do we Africans get it that there is no equal relationship with African countries? You would either do what you are told or you choose to be yourself reliant, then you are vilified, but you set strong basis, he writes. All right. Let's hear from this is Bright Fallon Saki. President George Weah shot himself in the foot. Do not poo-poo on your farm roll. When President Weah was elected, what did he do diplomatically? Instead of going first to Washington as our traditional, as our tradition, he went to Morocco, Senegal, France. What do that mean? He knows. All right, I think you meant to say, what does that mean? Let's hear from Ambassador R.C. Dimland Jr. Don't man Reagan because he supported the U.S. while being against Pan-Africanism. All right, I don't know what he's trying to say there. Let's hear from Logan. Yes, Samuel Doe was wicked and creatively clever to gain American favor. I think you met. Do you remember John J. Rance's strategy letter to do? All right, somebody is going a little more historical there. Let's hear from Benito Wallace. Trump was not fake, and what was really entering the White House benefited. Trump was not fake, and what really entering the White House benefited or benefiting Liberia. We need to learn how to be independent. I agree with you. Entering the White House means nothing, but if you get $1 billion from the White House, it can do something as well. Besides, we are running the country, and there's something called diplomacy, folks. So we have to do it. So let's get from the ambassador again. He said, "Yup, Tweah is not a good messenger to the U.S. He stole donors' money. That is a fact. And Mr. Tweah was made to put back that money." Kia-san, you think that Spoon Network for you to come here to tell someone about talking nonsense with covenants? Oh, Hassan, man, I'm talking my own. Whichever way you classify it, yeah, I focus on Liberia. We respect people's right to speak their mind. Yeah, we have a country to fight for, and we are doing it the best way we can. Ansony, can you do that? Ansony, can you do that on what Tweah is doing for this country? Stop talking nonsense with covenants. The guy said, I'm talking nonsense with covenant. At least I have some covenant to do so. Thank you for, I see that as a compliment. I have some covenant. Let's hear from Right. Right now, we are speaking about CDC-led government, not past government. Somebody is making that point. Let's hear from Sylvester Yima, my brother. Say your own again. Whenever you have a system that doesn't account in anything, that does not account in anything they do, you will expect such results. Poor representation, poor results. That person is making that. Let's hear from Bon King. Sieh, please tell me, what did you or the country gain from early meeting the American president that you just need? And I'm prepared for that now. I got work to do here. Let me hear from Mr. Ki Hassan here. Wow. Only in Liberia, someone like Ansony Sieh can speak nonsense with covenant and get away with that. Oh, I'm going to speak my nonsense. So if I speak my nonsense, you want somebody to arrest me? Somebody Ansony Sieh can speak nonsense. He get away with that. I come into Liberia, so maybe you can tell the folks there to hold me accountable. I don't know why you wanted to get away with what? For people to arrest me or do what? Oh, Hassan. Well, that's your opinion, my brother. Anthony Kofa, Liberia is not a poor country. Liberians are poor-minded people, just like you guys here on social media. All you guys talk about politics. That is a lie. Focus on Liberia does not only talk about politics. And I can say with confidence, we are the only Liberian media platform that talk about multiple topics. No other platform can match what we do here in terms of programming. We talk history, we talk technology, we interview people, we do everything here. One thing that we have not been consistent with here is sports. But anytime they contact me, we have a show on that. So that person is telling a lie. We don't only talk politics here. Let me leave here, son. My brother have expressed himself. Here, son, please ensure that I don't get away with this nonsense you say you're talking. This guy don't know what he is talking about. He is talking like he was part of the meeting. You were not there. How did you know what was discussed there? The government of Liberia released a statement, and I read the statement, and that is the statement I'm interpreting. The statement is up to capture in Front Page Africa report. Go there and read it. The government said or its own, the US government also said its own. If you look there, you see complete emptiness. All they're talking about is, yeah, do this, yeah, we'll do this. That's all. And you think that's the reason why they came here for? So they will be told that do this and do this? You can't be in Liberia, somebody tell you do that? Ah, folks. Let's hear from Francis Mensah, Kiev. Oh, man. Kiev, you will need to apologize to the Liberian people in the future. Well, I mean, I want people to contribute to what I'm saying, man. You know, I made my analysis here. I want you to respond to it. Donald Johnson writes, some of you are so ignorant that you don't even know what's good for you. It is sad to hear you. Do you even understand what is being said? All right, somebody is making a point. I don't know whether he's talking about me or talking about somebody. Or Henry passed away. The delegation wanted to meet the American face to face. Some went to Lofa and some went to Gov't County before coming to the U.S. The old man lied to them again. Yeah, the old man, he said, I thought, old man. I hear from John Mason here. Ellen is a talk in dress. Ellen is determining that we are government. Shame on these people for giving Ellen a stage. We will resist and expose these people to the American people. You are at liberty to do what is best, man. You know, let's hear from Timothy Ne. What value did Jefferson Koji add to the Liberian government delegation? Well, they were taking some photos, so he's in the photo. Let's hear from the man V. Yeah. Hey, you are son, you are another free time. Oh man, Liberian people. Man of free time. It's a Liberian. Stop this kind of thing. Yeah, everybody going after Key. Is that my business? You're going after Key like this? Hey man, you know, I'm a competent guy when it comes to, you know, expressing my own opinion, man. But anyway, maybe I should say I appreciate you guys, you know. We need to hold each other accountable. Mr. Sieh, speak, yeah, brother. They who have ears, let them listen. Oh yeah, I'm talking my own. I'm talking my own. Yeah. If you don't listen, that's your business. Well, let me see if I have some callers standing by. I have the man, Kesali Double, on my line. Kesali Double, long time. No see, brother. Let me remove you on hold. Yeah, Kesali, if you can hear me. Oh, he dropped off. Kesali Double, I was just reading comments. I was not paying attention. Folks, if you want to come in to call, please make it now. I have very few minutes left here. So please, let me look for more comments here. Folks in cyberspace here that focus on Liberia. My name is Ansony. Sieh. I brought you another exciting edition, informative, analytical edition here of Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics. And this is what I do, you know. And I want people to hold me accountable here. If I screw things up, if I don't say anything right, come after me. Let's do this, you know. Let's do this. Let's fight for the country. And the way we fight our country for this country is to hold each other accountable on the things we do. Because the things we do, the decisions we make, the way we conduct ourselves are the things that determine who we are as a people and a country. Well, folks, Time is fast spent. I will give my conclusion here. I will give my conclusion here. But before I give my conclusion, let me share something with you here quickly. All right, there you have it. Here I focus on Liberia. All our programs are live in Liberia. All right, you see right there, live. Focus on Liberia, FOL, is live on the radio. We are live on the radio in Liberia. We are on Hot FM 107.9. Focus on Liberia programs are being broadcast in Liberia. The other day, a family member of mine called me and said, "Oh, when you started radio business, you in America, you're talking on the radio." I'm just saying that to say that people are hearing us. We are on the radio. The schedule is fixed for Liberian time in Liberia. If you want to listen to Focus on Liberia, 11 a.m. on Wednesday, 5 p.m. on Thursday, and 11 a.m. on Friday. And if you want to listen to us in the U.S. while we are live on the radio, you will listen to us 7 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, and 7 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. How do you listen? There is something they call TuneIn. It's an app. Go to your app store and download TuneIn. When you download TuneIn, there are a lot of online radio stations there. So if you look for Hot FM, you see there it's in red with a black writing, Hot FM 10.9. Go to that, open it. At that particular time that is on the screen, you will listen to Focus on Liberia on the radio. So we are not just here in America on social media. We are also on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also like our Facebook page so that when we are live, you will be able to get what we are doing. Well, folks, this is my conclusion. The Liberian government honored George Weah, dispatched a delegation to the United States, and the goal was to secure a financial commitment from the U.S. government to support the government's so-called proposed agenda for prosperity and development. They say they are for prosperity and development, but what I see them giving our people is nothing but poverty and misery. That is what they are giving our people. But they came to secure funding. They went to China. They wanted to get mineral swap. And they said a $1 billion mineral swap and all over the place. Mr. Sieh Hassan, he was one of those celebrating. That did not materialize. They made another effort. They went to Eaton and Imboma. They wanted to get $1 billion. $1 billion to build the coastal highway. It did not materialize. $1 billion mineral swap. It did not materialize. We were told that President Weah, the first business, oh God, President Weah became president on his way to France. France is now our traditional ally. But our men brought a whole football business here just because you are in France. Are going to France. And we were promised $10 million. I don't know if we got that. Hassan, please comment yet. Did we get that money? That $10 million would be good if you can share with us. We got that money. We need that money. What's this? Macron, you promised us you have to give that money to our man Georgie. Our people need that money. So what I'm saying is, this is a government that have been making its own effort in its own way to secure financial commitment so that they can be able to carry on their programs and their projects. It is a government, it's the only one we have now. So they have to have programs, they have to have projects. And they are doing everything, throwing everything on the wall to secure funding. That was the reason they came to America. The blunder they made is the guy they made the head of the team, Samuel Tweah. Samuel Tweah does not have a good reputation. Samuel Tweah was the one who encouraged or made a decision that they should take the donors' money. And the U.S. government plus other diplomatic heavyweights wrote a letter shaming our government. Come on, pour our money back. This is the Samuel Tweah. You now making your head of delegation that came for the purpose of securing some financial commitment. You are joking. It is the very Samuel Tweah who made a decision based on his fiscal advice to the government that let's take millions of dollars from the reserve in New York. They took that money, and according to Samuel 12, they used that money, being eloquent again, to map up excess liquidities. In Samuel 12's words, they went to Negro Town, they went everywhere. They dealt with money exchanger. When a report came, the report said some of the money exchangers that Mr. Tweah talked about, they were not even met in the first place. Those they said they have given money, it can't be proven that those people were giving money. Even some of these money exchanger, the Foreign Exchange Bureau, they are not in Liberia. They are on Pluto. We can't find them. And this is the guy who President Weah has failed to hold accountable. In fact, that report has been at LACC where they had a Nigerian crow called Wambodike. I don't know whether they released that report. If they did, maybe they did it under the cover of darkness, just as President Weah was able to declare his assets under the cover of darkness. We have no idea whether even the finance minister of Liberia declared his assets. No one knows. What kind of business is this? The finance minister, this is the very government that told our people they were going after 4 billion United States dollars, according to them, was stolen from previous government. They constituted a group called ARIET, Assets Recovery, Restitution and Recovery, blah, 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 they said. Who was the head? Serena Cephas. Serena Cephas, I had an opportunity listening to him the other day. He said, we were able to secure millions, but we have not gotten an official statement from the Liberian government as to how much has been recovered or retrieved from these corrupt officials. What happened? Arthur Johnson, another lawyer, who was the deputy to what he called Serena Cephas, he wrote a letter resigning and going further by saying this Liberian government has no interest in fighting corruption. That was the voice of Arthur Johnson. Arthur Johnson walked away. Those guys asked for nearly, I think, what's the amount they asked for? I think they asked for $4 million or so. I'm not sure on the amount, but they asked for millions of dollars to fight corruption, to go after officials they claim stole money from our country. They asked for millions of dollars. They even came to the United States here. They were at hotels again. That is what they are good at. Sleep in big hotels, come on business class on the flight. That's what they are yet. But contrary, on the other side, rather, if you go next door Sierra Leone, we have a correspondent in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone Anti-Corruption Commission, that which we have in our government too, which is the LACC. Julius Marabio did not constitute additional institution. The very LACC in Sierra Leone was able to recover $40 billion loans. Are you hearing me? $40 billion loan. That is why the Sierra Leone LACC recovered from people, including former vice president. They confiscated property of past government officials. The Liberian government, what it's doing is telling Mene Abu Kamara that the money that you were taking that you should not have taken, just pull it back. That is the business. In fact, of recent, the Norwegian government that has sent some money to Liberia to revamp our hydro, they have to send their own auditors in Liberia. Let us go and look at the $40 million that we have spent on the revamping on the hydro to ascertain whether the money was used as was intended. The Norwegian government auditing was able to identify of the $42 million that government and people have spent for the benefit of the Liberian people. $6 million of that money was sanfun by the previous government, not even Joshua government. Joshua will not have the guts to go after the people that stole that money. Now it's government. And not even a body Samuel Tweah and not stole that money. The Ellen people stole that money. Weah does not have President Weah does not have the guts to go after the people. Guess what he did as his action? President Weah wrote a letter to the legislature that the budget are coming, the $6 million the Ellen people stole, you're pulling in the budget so we can pay the people money. The Norwegian government does not need the money back. They have enough for themselves. They have given the money for an intended purpose. Go after the people that stole the money, hold them accountable. All the people of Norway trying to do here is help you. They want you to hold people accountable for stealing. And our president cannot say something that easy. He thinks the people want the money back. The people want the money back before they give it to you. So, folks, that delegation was a disservice to Liberia. The money they spent was a waste. They wasted our time. They sent bad representatives on the team on that delegation. Samuel Tweah should not have been the head of that delegation. He does not have the character. And so, folks, they were sent back. They were rebuked. And now let them go and do what they're supposed to do. Oh, we'll fight corruption. In fact, we can do anything you say you want us to do. We can do it because, hey, they are calling to them that the past administration could not even carry on harmonization. Harmonization has been something, a program that has political risks. We, the CDC government, if we can carry on harmonization, court people pay until they're getting less money in the tough economy. If we can make that political calculation that is risky, they are saying we can do anything. Anything you tell us we'll do. We'll fight corruption. You say we'll go after money laundering, or we must respect people when they want to protest. The police should respect people. We should respect journalists. We should not shut radio station down. Oh yeah, we'll do it. And that's why you came here for? So folks, they wasted our time, and I'm sorry that they did that to us. But I also thank God that folks like us are here. That God has given us this opportunity to be your voice, to bring the information to you and analyze it. Because in their eloquence, they will use BB jargon that you will not understand. But we are here, we are prepared to set the record straight. Here I focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. Folks, that is how I will draw the curtains down here. I focus on Liberia. Thank you, and thank you for following this broadcast here. I focus on Liberia. The song says we are all Liberians. Whether you think I'm talking nonsense and I'm getting away with it free, and whether you feel that I need to be held accountable, whatever that accountability means, if it means that I've been grabbed and beaten and put into jail like others, then so be it. I'm prepared for that. I'm talking about my country. Yeah, you want to bring sentiments? I'm talking about my country, our country. It's not your power farm. And you bring sentiments here? Do your job. I know some of you are surrogates. You have to do what? But again, that song says we are all Liberians. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me or not, whether you support government or support opposition, that in itself completely useless, it's up to you. I support Liberia, and Liberia will continue to support. I'm tired of these politicians playing politics, playing us, and they think they mean anything good for our country. On that note, folks, enjoy the song and tell me thank you later on. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.